Welcome to our deep dive into the world of Kabbalah. We're going to be exploring its history and key figures and core concepts using Iniciación a la Kabbalah by Rabbi Philip S. Berg as our guide. You might be thinking, Kabbalah, isn't that some super complex mystical system?
It's true that Kabbalah has often been seen as hidden knowledge, reserved for scholars. But the truth is, it's a system of wisdom meant to be explored and shared, offering a really unique perspective on life and our place in the universe.
So it's not just for mystics on a mountaintop somewhere.
Not at all. In fact, the term Kabbalah itself means the wisdom of Lohanestar, the hidden wisdom. It's about uncovering truths that are hidden within us and the world around us.
Okay, that makes sense. So where do we even begin with something as vast as Kabbalah?
Well, Rabbi Berg does a great job of tracing the historical journey of Kabbalah. He starts with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, a 2nd century scholar who penned the Zohar, a foundational text in Kabbalah.
So this Rabbi Shimon guy, he's like the OG Kabbalist.
You could say that. His teachings were initially passed down orally. Imagine that, carrying such weighty wisdom for generations before it was finally written down.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So how did Kabbalah spread from these early teachings?
Well, Rabbi Berg highlights a pivotal moment in history, the expulsion of Jews from Spain in 1492. This event led to a flourishing of Kabbalistic thought in the city of Safed in the Galilee region. It became a hub for scholars and mystics, marking what's known as the Golden Age of Safed.
Safed became like the Kabbalah capital of the world.
In a way, yes. It was
Right.
there that Rabbi Isaac Luria, known for his dynamic interpretations of the Zohar, and Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, who offered a more structured philosophical approach, emerged as central figures.
So lots of different perspectives coming together and save it. Sounds like a pretty exciting time for Kabbalah. But what were some of the key ideas that came out of this golden age?
One of the most profound concepts is tzimtzum, meaning restriction. It describes the creator contracting or restricting itself to create space for the universe.
Whoa, that's a mind-bending concept. The creator making space for us.
It is, and within that created space, we have the 10 luminous emanations, the Sephirah. These are divine attributes or forces that are like the building blocks of creation.
So it's like a cosmic blueprint with each Sephirah having a specific role.
Exactly. And this interplay between the spiritual and physical, between the creator and the created, is something Kabbalah tries to illuminate.
But where do we fit into all of this?
Well, that's where the concept of bread of shame comes in. It's a metaphor for the limitations of the physical world, which can distract us from our spiritual purpose.
So the physical world with all its pleasures and temptations is like bread of shame.
It can be if we let it consume us. But here's the interesting part. Accepting this bread of shame, these limitations can actually help us grow spiritually.
Wait, so embracing limitations helps us grow. How does that work?
Rabbi Berg explains that it's about shifting our focus from receiving to sharing. When we're constantly seeking to fulfill our own desires, we create a spiritual void. But when we focus on giving and contributing to something greater than ourselves, we experience true fulfillment.
So it's not about denying ourselves, it's about aligning our desires with a higher purpose.
Exactly. And this ties back to the concept of tzimtzum. By choosing to share and restrict our self-centered desires, we're actually helping to reverse that initial restriction, bringing us closer to the Creator.
So our actions have a cosmic impact.
That's the power of Kabbalah. It shows us that we have a profound role to play in the ongoing process of creation. It's a pretty empowering idea, wouldn't you say?
It is. So we've covered the historical journey of Kabbalah and some of its core concepts like Tzimtzum and bread of shame. But how does all this translate to practical application in our lives?
Well, that's where Kabbalah gets really interesting. It offers tools to help us connect with the divine, cultivate awareness, and live with intention.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. Can you give us a taste of some of these tools?
One important practice is devvakut, which means connecting to a higher power. Think of it like tuning into a universal frequency.
So like finding that state of spiritual connection.
Exactly. And then there's kavanah, which means intention or focused awareness during prayer and actions. It's about bringing mindfulness to everything we do.
So it's not just about going through the motions, but about being present and intentional in our actions.
Precisely. And as we cultivate this awareness and intention, we begin to see the world and ourselves in a new light.
This is fascinating. It seems like we've only just scratched the surface here.
Mm-hmm.
But before we dive deeper, I want to take a moment to let our listener digest all this. Think about this for a moment. How do these concepts of tzimtzum, bread of shame, and our role in creation resonate with you? What sparks your curiosity? We'll be back in a moment to explore more of these ideas.
It's amazing how these Kabbalistic concepts intertwine, isn't it? We've touched on Sinsum, the initial restriction, and how our choices can actually help reverse that process.
Right, it's like we're participating in this cosmic dance of expansion and contraction. But you mentioned some tools for connecting with the divine. Can we explore those a little more?
Absolutely. One of the most fundamental practices is devekut, which means cleaving to the divine, experiencing unity with the Creator.
So it's about achieving a state of oneness, of feeling connected to something larger than ourselves.
Precisely. And it's not some distant, unattainable state. Devekut can be cultivated through prayer, meditation, acts of kindness, even moments of awe and wonder in nature.
That's encouraging. It means that moments of devachet are accessible to anyone, regardless of their background or religious beliefs.
Exactly. It's about tapping into that innate desire within us to connect with something greater than ourselves, to experience a sense of belonging and purpose.
You also mentioned Kavanaugh earlier. Can you remind us what that means and how it helps us connect to the divine?
Kavanaugh means intention or focused awareness. It's about bringing mindfulness to everything we do, recognizing the deeper meaning behind our actions. For example, instead of just going through the motions of prayer, we can use Kavanaugh to focus our attention, to connect with the words and their deeper significance.
So it's about being present, being fully engaged in whatever we're doing, whether it's prayer, work, or even just having a conversation.
Exactly. It's about infusing our actions with intention, with awareness, with a sense of purpose. And when we do that, even the most mundane tasks can become opportunities for spiritual growth.
That's a powerful concept.
Yeah.
It means that every moment can be a moment of connection, a chance to align ourselves with the divine.
Precisely. And that brings us back to the idea of bread of shame and how embracing limitations can lead to spiritual expansion.
Right. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that one. How does accepting limitations help us grow?
Well, think about it this way. When we're constantly seeking to fulfill our own desires, our focus is on ourselves, on what we lack. But when we accept our limitations, we shift our focus outward, to others, to the world around us. It allows us to see the needs of others, to recognize our interconnectedness, and to cultivate compassion.
So it's about letting go of our ego-driven desires and embracing a more expansive, selfless way of being.
Exactly. And the shift in perspective opens us up to a whole new level of experience. We move from a state of separation to a state of connection, from feeling limited to feeling expansive.
It's like we're tapping into that flow of divine energy you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Becoming a part of something much larger than ourselves.
And this sense of connection, this devakut, is ultimately what Kabbalah is all about. It's about recognizing our inherent unity with the Creator and with all of creation.
It's a beautiful concept, but also a challenging one. How do we navigate the complexities of life with all its ups and downs while staying connected to this sense of unity?
That's where the concept of tikkun olam comes in, the idea of repairing the world. Kabbalah teaches that we have a responsibility to use our gifts, our talents, our actions to make the world a better place.
So it's about taking action, about putting our spiritual insights into practice.
Precisely. Every act of kindness, every effort to promote justice and peace, every step we take to heal the environment, these are all acts of tikkun olam.
It's empowering to think that even small actions can have a ripple effect contributing to the healing of the world.
Exactly. And when we engage in tikkun olam, we're not just helping others, we're also healing ourselves. We're aligning ourselves with the flow of divine energy, bringing balance and harmony to the universe.
This is so inspiring, but I have to admit it can also feel overwhelming. Where do we even begin with something as vast as tikkun olam?
Rabbi Berg emphasizes that it starts with our own personal transformation. As we cultivate devakut and kavana, as we embrace limitations and shift our focus from receiving to sharing, we naturally begin to radiate that energy outward.
So it's about embodying these principles in our own lives, becoming living examples of compassion, generosity, and intentionality.
Precisely. And as we do that, we become beacons of light, inspiring others to do the same. Remember, tikkun olam is not a solo mission, it's a collective effort.
I love that. It means that each of us has a unique role to play in this grand cosmic symphony of healing and transformation. This conversation has been truly enlightening, but I know our listener is probably eager to hear more about how they can apply these Kabbalistic principles in their own lives. Let's take a short break and we'll be back to explore some practical tips and insights. We've been diving deep into some pretty profound Kabbalistic concepts, and It's clear that Kabbalah isn't just about these mystical ideas, it's about practical application and transforming our lives.
Absolutely. And remember, transformation isn't about becoming someone entirely different. It's about revealing our truest selves, the divine spark that resides within each of us.
That's a beautiful way to put it. So where do we begin this process of revealing our truest selves?
Well, one key aspect we haven't explored in detail is the concept of mitzvot, the commandments. In Kabbalah, mitzvot aren't just seen as rules to follow blindly, they're pathways to connect with the divine.
So it's not about checking boxes or feeling restricted.
Not at all. It's about understanding the deeper spiritual intention behind those actions. Each mitzvah is an opportunity to align ourselves with the flow of divine energy, to refine our character, and to contribute to the tikkun olam, the repair of the world.
That makes a lot of sense. So performing mitzvah with kavanah, with focused awareness, can actually be a transformative experience.
Precisely. Imagine approaching acts of kindness, charity, or even just speaking kindly to others, not as obligations, but as opportunities to connect with the divine.
It's like infusing our everyday actions with spiritual purpose.
Mhm.
Suddenly the mundane becomes sacred.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of Kabbalah. It elevates our experience of life, revealing the hidden connections and meaning in everything we do.
It's like we're given a new lens through which to view the world.
And through that lens, we start to see ourselves differently, too. We recognize our own potential for growth, for connection, for making a positive impact.
This has been such an insightful journey. We've explored history, key figures, profound concepts like Tzimtzum, Brit of Shame, and the transformative power of Devakat Kavanah Mitzvot and Tikkun Olam. But I imagine our listener might be feeling a bit like they've just taken a sip from a fire hose.
It's true that Kabbalah is a vast and intricate system, but that's also what makes it so fascinating. There's always more to learn, more to explore, more to uncover.
So what's the one key takeaway you hope our listener will walk away with today?
I'd say the most important message is that Kabbalah isn't just for scholars or mystics. It's a path of transformation available to everyone. It's about recognizing the divine spark within ourselves, connecting with the flow of divine energy, and using that connection to make the world a better place.
It's about realizing that we're not just passive observers in this grand cosmic drama. We're active participants, co-creators with the divine. What an empowering thought. So to our listener, we encourage you to continue exploring the world of Kabbalah. Don't be afraid to ask questions, seek guidance, and most importantly, apply these principles to your own life. As Rabbi Berg reminds us, the true power of Kabbalah lies in its ability to transform not just our understanding, but our very way of being.
And as you embark on this journey of transformation, remember that you're not alone. There's a whole community of seekers, teachers, and guides ready to support you along the way. May your journey be filled with wonder, discovery, and the joy of connecting with the divine within and all around you.
That's all for our deep dive into the world of Kabbalah. We hope you've enjoyed this exploration and that it sparked a desire to learn more and to continue on your own path of spiritual discovery.